Hey everybody, it's Magic Prepper and I wanted to talk to you today about whether or not you need all this stuff on your pistol. An optic, a light, all the accoutrements you might say. I don't know, but I will say that I've been thinking about whether or not you actually need all these things, especially on certain types of pistols and certain use case scenarios. And I was out zeroing the Delta Point Pro you see here on the Beretta M9A4 that also has an X300 turbo on it. And I thought, this is a pretty big, bulky handgun that's specifically meant to be an outside the waistband duty pistol, at least in my opinion. And in that scenario where a prepared citizen would be carrying a pistol outside the waistband in this capacity, would I actually need all of these additional accessories? And by eliminating them, is there any benefit? And I was able to answer all those questions pretty easily, actually, and that had me concerned because it changed my entire ethos regarding life itself. So, before we get really into the nitty-gritty and I make somebody mad, Midway USA is the biggest supporter of the channel. Thanks to them, I can get out in the range, I can shoot, I can try out optics and lights and everything else and give you my honest feedback on them. So big thanks to Midway USA, who has a lot of stuff you might want when it comes to preparedness. So the M9A4 got me thinking about that, right? Because this big, heavy gun doesn't necessarily need to be bigger and heavier, right? But having these capabilities can be important at times. And the concept was that this pistol was meant for wearing on like a battle belt. And generally, as a prepared citizen, if I'm going to be wearing a battle belt, it's because I probably have the rest of my kit also. And that means I probably have a rifle. And at that point, if you're doing things the right way, your rifle has sights of some kind, probably an optic, but at the minimum iron sights, and a light. And if you're already running a light and an optic on your rifle, and now it's your primary weapon system, do you need that on your pistol? Now, I carry this daily. This is a Glock 45/19X/19 Gen 5. Don't worry about it. Either way, it's a full-size pistol. It's capable of being a duty gun while also being a concealable pistol, at least in my experience, which is why I carry appendix, because I can carry a gun this big without printing. But regardless, I have an Aimpoint Acro P2 on it, and I also have a Surefire XR1A on it. Why? Because this is the only gun I have on me. This is my primary weapon system when I'm out and about away from my house. I don't carry a rifle around. Not in my profession, and it's also something that's not socially acceptable right now, right? So I carry this. And so if this is the only gun I have on me, I want to enhance capability where I can. So I have an optic in order to have threat focus as well as low light seeing conditions being a little bit easier in the sense of placing the reticle on target. And then also I have the ability to reach out at range a little further if need be more accurately. Then the light provides me the versatility of being able to positively identify a threat in the dark or even just be there as an option. And for those of you who don't like lights because they make you a target, well, you can just not turn it on, I guess. But if you need it, you'll probably be glad you had it. So this is what I carry every single day. And this is also my duty gun too, because, well, it's the one I use the most. So I want to be efficient and train with it and everything else. But one thing that got me thinking about all this is the fact that a lot of people out there who do this stuff professionally, right, when they're carrying a rifle, often they don't even have a pistol. Their goal is to keep their rifle up and running no matter what. And if they do carry a pistol, how important is that pistol to that system? It's just a backup to their primary weapon, right? It's just a worst case scenario option. And so in that situation, does something like this become more sensible? This is the same gun basically, a Glock 45 with a Glock 19X slide, but with no light and no optic. It's very basic. And yes, all the firearms are clear and safe and everything else. We don't have to worry about that, but just to verify, okay? So what's nice about this is that it's less weight. But it's not just less weight. It also is less expensive. And it has less of a logistics system to concern yourself with in the sense of batteries and everything else. But one thing that I can hear you saying right now is, well, the weight of the optic and the light is pretty minimal, and the amount of capability they provide is maximal, so it's probably worth the sacrifice. And I felt the same way. But then I started thinking about things a little differently, right? If this is my secondary, right? My rifle's my primary, and this is my secondary. This adds a lot of complexity to the system, as well as cost and weight. And I know you think the weight is minimal, but let's talk about the other things required to support this particular system, okay? So, right here, I've got a Safari Land Safari Volt which is a holster I use for this pistol with an Acro P2 and an XR1A on it. Now, it does its job very well, and it locks in nice and tight, right? It's not coming out unless you want it to. So, even has a shroud for the red dot, protects it and everything else. This is a very durable, very thick holster, but with durability, thickness, and the accommodations for a light and an optic comes weight. And this is a lot more weight than a holster would be if it didn't have to accommodate either of those accessories. Now, you could, for example, use what I was using for the M9A4, which is more minimalist, like this Ragnarok holster from TRX Arms, right? Does the job and everything else. But even if this was slimmed down to not accommodate a weapon light, it would still be lighter and less bulk. And by the way, in many cases, less expensive because it's additional material. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because in a situation where your pistol is just a backup gun, and when it's just a worst case scenario fallback plan, do you really need all the additional accessories in that moment? Possibly. And the argument could be had that since you train on this all the time and you carry it every day, you should just use this and accept the weight penalty and the complexity penalty in the process because this is what you're most efficient with, which I can definitely agree with to a certain point. But what this does is allows you to not only avoid the complexity of your system of having CR2032 batteries, additional, well, this is a B13 battery from Surefire, which would be a whole nother situation, but let's say it's more of a normal light. For example, let's put it in terms of the M9A4 here. We got an X300 turbo on it, right? 2 CR123As. Great. So now I have to manage CR2032 batteries, CR123A batteries. I also have the additional weight on the pistol that's mostly sitting on my hip, which is weighing me down at one of the worst parts of your body to be weighed down at, while not usually doing anything at all and hopefully never doing anything at all because, well, you have a rifle, right? And in those situations, this is why a lot of people don't even carry a pistol, because not only is it additional weight, but it's additional systems to concern yourself with. And we didn't even talk about the cost, really. Now you're paying for batteries, you're paying for the additional holsters and everything else that are a little bit more expensive and niche and everything else related to adding these accoutrements, right? So the reason we're having this conversation is because if this makes things simple, lighter weight, reduces the amount of logistics you have to manage in your system, reduces the complexity of the entire system, and keeps a small enough footprint to where you're actually going to carry it rather than just saying it's not worth the extra weight, maybe that makes more sense. And maybe meeting everything in a middle ground of compromise of saying, I don't have additional weight in my system for a pistol, but I really think I need one because maybe it's just me and a buddy or just me or who knows what, and I do want some sort of redundancy or backup plan. Well, maybe this allows me to do that without all the additional sacrifices that the optic and the light would then require, with the intent and the hope that you would never even have to use this. But it's there just in case, right? And so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Does running something like this or this make more sense in that capacity? And if you're concealed carrying, which I do every day with this particular gun, now this makes the most sense to me because it's the only gun I have on me. And so now this is my primary system with a light and an optic on it. But if my primary system's a rifle, it's got a light and an optic on it. And then in that scenario, do I really need all this stuff? And that's what I'm asking you, legitimately. Let me know in the comments below. I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. I'm not a professional. I've never been in the military. I've never served on a police force or anything of that sort. So these types of conversational videos help me as much as they might help you in the sense of understanding what makes the most sense here, right? So anything else you need from me at all, go to magicprepper.com. And besides that, that's going to be it for Magic Prepper.